This is a session on digital forensics in today's world, local and foreign opportunities, where to start career, recommendations, and trends. And this session will be conducted by a person who is very accomplished in this subject area. She is currently working as an associate information security analyst at Sri Lanka CERT. She is a holder of BSc Ons in IT from KDU, MSc in IT specializing in cybersecurity from SLIIT. So she is none other than Miss Hansani Halwatura. Miss Halwatura, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I'll be doing the session on digital forensics. So the first two sessions were very interesting by Kushanta sir. So to start with digital forensics, I will be covering the following topics today. And before I go on with the subject knowledge, I want to give a brief overview on Sri Lanka CERT. So Sri Lanka CERT is the National Center for Cybersecurity in Sri Lanka, which means that we act as a source of expertise to assist the nation and member organizations in to proactively assist, respond to, and recover from the cyber attacks or the cyber incidents. So Sri Lanka CERT was set up in 2006, and it's owned by the government of Sri Lanka, and currently we are under the Ministry of Technology. So I won't be telling much about the services we do. Those can be taken from our website. So moving on to digital forensics. Digital forensics is, as it says in the slide, it's a process of investigation and analysis techniques, which are there to gather, preserve, analyze, interpret, and document the evidence from a particular computing device in a way that it is suitable for the presentation in a court of law. So when I say for the presentation in a court of law, when I say the presentation in a court of law, it means I'm talking about the admissibility. Sometimes when we do forensics, due to various reasons, the evidence that we gather might not be valid. So the main thing a digital forensic investigator should do is to validate the evidence before presenting in a court of law. So to explain you all more about the purpose and how the digital forensic teams work, you know, nowadays the cyber attacks or the cyber breaches, they are not a matter of if it will happen. It's a matter of when it will happen. It's about time. We all know that with the advancement of technologies and with the new devices and the devices and the new concepts coming into place, the attacks also increase, because cyber attackers, they always want to find weaknesses in devices to exploit them. So due to that reason, there should be a team to find out how these incidents happen. So that's where the forensic team comes into play. They figure out the who, when, where, and why a bad actor came into the system. So apart from finding, they also provide the guidance on how to mitigate those risks from happening again. Sri Lanka CERT also handles we are mainly focused on government cases, but we also handle private forensic cases as well. So when I say government or the cases that we get from public requests, I mean mostly payment device frauds. There's a reason for why we are getting cases related to payment device frauds. So if I tell a little bit about how we are getting them, in Sri Lanka, we have a separate legislation to deal with crimes related to payment devices or counterfeit payment devices. And that act is the Payment Devices Fraud Act number 30 of 2006. So according to the act, in the first paragraph, I have said what the act is supposed to do. So the the purpose of the act is to prevent the possession and the use of unauthorized counterfeit payment devices, and to protect the people lawfully who are issuing such payment devices, and to punish those offenders. That is the main idea behind the act. And the act also says that the minister can appoint a panel of experts to assist the police in all investigations related to an offense under this particular act. So here you can see that also the second one, the minister may by order published in the Gazette appoint a panel of experts from among persons having the prescribed qualifications in electronic engineering or software engineering or any other area of expertise defined by the minister to assist the police in all investigation into an offense under this act. So there are particular set of people who are assigned for this related area. This slide shows an extraordinary gazette that was released on 28th of October 2010. So here you can see in the Gazette, if you see the picture, there are 7 names, and the 7th name is Sri Lanka CERT, which means that Sri Lanka CERT has been appointed as an expert member for the panel to handle these type of cases, the Payment Devices Fraud Act cases. And normally, if I tell you about the process that Sri Lanka CERT, how we receive cases, normally the police, they have to get a court order from the courts stating that these devices must be investigated, and the courts will assign a party to investigate those devices. And if it's Sri Lanka CERT, the police will come with the court order and the devices to Sri Lanka CERT, and they will hand over the items and the court order to us. Once they do that, we will start the investigation. So there's a process that we follow when we take the items, such as the chain of custody forms that we have to sign. Those parts I will explain the later stage. This process, after we receive the cases, then we do the investigation, and we have to give back the report and the items to the police again, so that they will present it to the courts. But there are times when the courts or any judicial system, when the police give the courts, they might summon or they might ask us to come to the courts and explain the report as an expert witness. So expert witness is a person who has an expertise knowledge in that area. So at that time we might have to, this does not happen all the time, but there are times when we have to go to courts. Wherever the courts are, it doesn't matter. Then we have to go there and we have to explain the report. Apart from that, the law enforcement agencies or the police, they might need our knowledge to seize the counterfeit payment devices. So for that, we travel to that particular location and help them identify those digital devices or the evidence related to the incident. So these are some of the types of digital forensics. You know, digital forensics is a branch of cybersecurity, and under digital forensic also there are different branches. So these are some of those branches: disk forensic, network forensic, wireless forensics, database forensic, malware forensic, email and memory forensics. Although as forensic investigators, we won't, at least not in Sri Lanka CERT, we won't get specialized in a branch of forensics, as in we can get specialized, but the thing is, digital forensic investigators get technologies from different areas. Just say we get a forensic case from in the branch of disk forensics. There, although it's a disk forensic, we might also need the knowledge of network forensics. So we won't tell anyone to get specialized in a particular branch of forensics. But if there's a large team and if the company is very specialized to digital forensic, then this might be practical. Next, I will explain to you what digital evidence is before we move on to the other parts of the presentation. Digital or electronic evidence is an information or a data of investigative value, which means that it's something that we have found out of the digital devices that uh, we have seized. So it's very valuable, especially for the courts. These electronic evidence can include documents, emails, or any other files that are electronically stored. Even the network or the data from ISP providers can be categorized as a digital evidence. When I say data of the ISPs, this means that there are times when court orders are submitted to internet service providers like Dialog, Mobitel. So from there, if we have a phone number, then we give the court order to the relevant ISP, and they give us information on whose phone number that is. So all that is also considered as digital evidence. So I will now explain about the unique characteristics of digital evidence. The first one is invisible to the untrained eye. This means that digital forensic investigators go through a lot of data. Say if it's one computer, so that one computer can have a lot of data of different types. And it's not just, we don't just look at the places that we see. We have to know techniques and methods to go inside the file systems and check for particular information. So the particular person or the, I would say, let's say an attacker behind a particular attack, they might have deleted this data. So we have to recover the data. And then from the recovered data also, we might have to find a lot of information. So normally, when we just look at it, it's not visible. We have to go on looking at it to the raw metadata. The second point is may need to be interpreted by a specialist. This means that some of the data that we find, if we don't know that this is an important data, then we might ignore it. For instance, uh, some of the court orders that we get, it says, since we are very specialized on payment devices, I'll give an example related to that. The court order can say, find out all the credit card details that are stored in this particular device. Then we should know how the data is stored, because they don't just type in the data. They fix particular fraudulent devices into particular places where the user does not know that it's there, but the card information gets saved into their databases. So these data might not be saved in ways that we can understand. For instance, the credit card information that we look for, normally they are stored in series of numbers. It's not like the card number, the serial number, it's not like that. It's a notepad file where we see, say, 10 digits of numbers, and there's a space, and there's around 4 more digits. So if we see something like that, then we know that it's a credit card information. That is why I have indicated here interpreted by a specialist. Sometimes we have to consult specialists as well, such as a language specialists also. When we look at a computer, sometimes some contents are in other languages. So then again, we have to consult a language specialist. The third point is it's highly volatile. Volatile means that the data gets erased when the computer is switched off. So this is a matter of, it sometimes this depends on the scenario and the investigator. There are times when we have no option to save the volatile data. For instance, if we are in a particular crime scene and there's a file uploading happening, so whether to uh, cancel the file upload or to let it go, sometimes we have to think about it. It depends on the situation. The fourth point is maybe altered or destroyed. This means that when we collect the evidence, we should not, we should always handle it very carefully. Evidence is very fragile. It's, say, even if you're transporting, there can be ways that it gets damaged. So if it gets damaged, then there's actually no use of investigating it. And when we are investigating it, we should always investigate it with a copy of the exact evidence, the exact device. Getting a copy and how we do a copy, I will be explaining it in the latter part. The last point is maybe copied without limits. This means that sometimes the attackers copy a file to different places, and we as investigators should find where the original copy is. So that is also a very hard thing, but that's another characteristic of evidence, that we have to look for the original place. When it comes to digital evidence collection, I think if we can we, I think we can publish the quiz if we want. I can stop here if y'all are going to go on with the quiz of the first half.
All right, thank you, Ms. Halwatura. So, folks, it's time for the fourth quiz of the day. So, please again move to the kahoot.it, I guess the website, the Kahoot website, and enter the game pin, which will be provided to you in a few seconds. Yes, it is kahoot.it and the game pin is 411265. Please enter the game pin and enter this quiz as you did previously. So, again, let me say how to rename yourself at the quiz. Please use the same format of names that you used in the Zoom call to rename yourself at the Kahoot quiz as well. So, I see a few participants who have not followed the normal protocol, please then log out of the quiz and then log in again and rename yourself according to the given format. Otherwise, if you win, it will be so hard for us to find who you are. So then we won't be able to reach out to you and give you the gifts that are due to be received by you. So Okay, the participant number is increasing quite fast at the moment. We have 78. Okay, increasing 84 right now. So in a few moments we will be starting the quiz. So guys, hurry up and join. And as I said previously, the winners of this quiz will be awarded with valuable gifts and coupons to study online many valuable courses by the Syscare Solutions IT company. So all the benefits you will be getting after winning this quiz is down there in the chat. You can refer that if you want. But at the moment, please try and join the quiz as quickly as possible. So we are at the 100th mark. So we will give it another minute or two and see if anyone else wants to join. Time is a determining factor here, folks. So please hurry up and join. All the 50 top scorers will be awarded with many valuable gifts. So it seems like we are stuck at 104. Right, it is increased to 107 at the moment. All right, we are at a Nelson now. So, okay, it is gradually increasing and again decreasing back at Nelson, folks. So, I guess since time is not much available in our pockets, it is now time for us to move on with the quiz. So, let's start the quiz at 115 participants. Okay, so let's start the quiz. We are moving on to the first question of Kahoot number 4 for the day, and that is, what is Sri Lanka's CERT? Answer red, the National Center for Cybersecurity in Sri Lanka. Answer blue, the National Center for COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. Answer yellow, the National Center for Emergency Response in Sri Lanka. So what is the correct answer for CERT? What is Sri Lanka CERT, folks? This is so easy for you. Okay, so 87 of you have got the answer correct, and that is the answer red, the National Center for Cybersecurity in Sri Lanka. So let's see the scoreboard now. Okay, Slit 2011 1410 is at the top with a mark of 922. Let's see if he or she will be able to keep the position secure. The second question is, what is the main act in Sri Lanka that is related to the use of unauthorized payment devices? Answer red, Payment Devices Fraud Act number 33 of 2006, Payment Devices Fraud Act number 30 of 2006, Payment Devices Fraud Act number 30 of 2010, and final answer, Payment Devices Fraud Act number 20 of 2006. So what is the correct answer? All right, 45 of you have gotten it correct, and that is the answer number blue. Answer color blue. Okay, we are getting a few disturbances. Please mute yourselves, folks. Okay, the top position is acquired by CSTUW 17042. Congratulations. And next, let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is a multi-select question. Name 3 branches of digital forensics. So what will be the correct 3 answers? It could be disk system forensics, answer amber red, answer color red. Answer blue, network forensics. Answer yellow, malware forensics. Answer green, economics forensics. So what will be the correct 3 answers? Okay, so many of you have got them correct. Those are answer red, answer blue, and answer yellow. Only answer wrong, that is economic forensics, is green. Answer green is wrong here, folks. So I beg your pardon for the tongue twister. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, before moving on, there is the Scoreboard and NSBM 19593 have secured the first place with a score of 4,177. So let's move on to the next question. And the fourth and the final question of this quiz: name three things to do when seizing an electronic media. Answer red, preventing remote access to the device. Answer blue, use Faraday bags. Answer yellow, airplane mode device off. Answer green, properly cover it from soft cloth. So, what are the three correct answers, folks? We have 4 seconds remaining. And there we go. The correct answers are answer red, answer blue, and answer yellow. And only the answer green is the wrong answer. So, let's see who is the winner of the quiz now. The Cyberzilla Kahoot for the third place is taken by NSBM 21495. Second place goes to NSBM 22005, whatever it is. I can't see it again. Okay, and the first place goes to NSBM 19593. So congratulations to all three of you from NSBM. And all the organizers from the Cyberzilla will reach to you in the due time. And those who were able to score the first 50 positions will also receive valuable prizes from the Syscare Inc. So now that's it for the quiz number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Back into the session. You're up now, Miss Halwatura.
Thank you, Trividya. I think everyone did a good job in answering the last question. I was going to tell it afterwards. I forgot that I'm supposed to say it now, but the answers were really good. All three correct answers were selected. So I think I can explain this easily. When we collect the digital evidence, there are some steps that we have to follow. So first one is seizing the evidence, then acquiring and creating the forensic image, then analyzing the forensic image of the original media. So seizing means that we have to get the device from that particular place. For that, we have to do several things. The first one is to, when a crime happens, the police physically they secure the crime scene. You must have seen in the movies also, there's a yellow tape and it says that no one can enter. So that is basically securing a crime scene. But that will not prevent remote access to the wireless devices that might be still powered on. There can be wireless devices, then applications running. Say if it's a phone, and if they have the Find My Phone app, they can remote wipe the critical data or the data that we as investigators want. So many criminals are aware of this remote wiping capability, and they will take the maximum advantage of those uh, remote wiping apps. And there's also a risk when it comes to the data on the web. They can delete those also. For instance, the data in their emails and messaging applications. So those also they can automatically delete or they can be overwritten. So at that time, even if the device, sometimes the device, we can see that the device is switched off, but it's actually not switched off. It can be a screensaver, or it can be a certain app that is showing that the mobile is switched off, but for real, it's not switched off. So due to these reasons, the volatile data or the data that we want might be lost when we take these devices to the forensic lab. Because of that, the first thing a lot of police investigators do is either they power off the mobile device, or they put it on airplane mode, or they use a Faraday bag. These are Faraday bag is a bag that that blocks radio signals. So even if there's someone trying to access the phone remotely, they won't be able to access if it's in that particular bag. Then sometimes the police investigators get the PIN number of the mobile devices. If it's a mobile device, they get the PIN number because some phones they are unable to crack. So it's better to get the PIN number. So as investigators, we also advise them whenever they can get the PIN number, get it. Another main thing is the power adapter. For laptops and mobile phones, it's not like we are going to power on the machine, but just in case if they find a power adapter with the device, then we advise them to get the power adapter as well. Then when we seize or when we get the devices, there is a chain of custody that we maintain. It's called chain of custody form. It's a document that establishes a record of the control, transfer and disposition of the evidence in a criminal case. So it must be able to show that the evidence was handled properly and it was not altered or tampered with. So for this, uh, in the chain of custody form, there are certain fields that we have to add. One is what the evidence is, if it's a mobile phone, if it's a laptop. So we have to have all details of the evidence with the model, the serial number, everything, and how we got it, when we collected the evidence, who handled the evidence, where the evidence traveled, and where was the evidence stored. All these things must be in the chain of custody document. So with that, it's easy for us to say that the integrity of the device was maintained, especially if it's a court case evidence, then the possibility of the investigator getting questioned on whether the device was tampered will be reduced. The next one is acquiring the evidence. Acquisition is the process of cloning or copying the digital data evidence from whatever the device. So when we create, this means that before we do any investigation, when we get the evidence, we have to make a copy of that evidence. And that making the copy is not like copy and paste. When we copy and paste, there can be certain changes in the created last access, modified times and the dates. So because of that, we have to get an exact copy of the evidence. We call it a bit stream copy or bit by bit copy. That means it's the exact copy of it. So we can put the original media away and do the investigation in the image that we got. Next one is analyzing the forensic image of the original media. This means that instead of the original media, like I said before, we are doing it in the forensic image. So for this purpose, to make sure that we don't tamper with the image also, we get a hash and we use write blockers. So write blockers are small devices that we connect to the forensic workstation and the evidence device. In the middle only we connect the write blocker. So we will not write anything from the workstation to the evidence. The purpose is to maintain the integrity. So it only gives a read access. And the hashing is normally when we get the original image, we get the hash of the original evidence, we get the hash of the image, and we make sure that the original evidence and the hash is both the same. And after the investigation also, we take a hash of the image to make sure that the image is in the same state as it was before we started the investigation, so that we know we have not tampered or altered any data. Next one is a video. If you all have any problems in hearing the sounds of the video, please let me know. This is an evidence that we have seized, the Sri Lanka CERT officers have seized, and it was in an ATM place. So it was fixed by uh, an attacker to get credit card information. This was an incident that happened in Sri Lanka. Let me know if you all can't hear the sound. So in this investigation, we went to an ATM and we saw this item on the ceiling and it was not fixed properly, so we asked someone to remove it. And here we saw a fire sensor, but it was not having any power supply. So we removed to see how it has been working. So inside this power, the fire sensor, we could not see any sensor, but here you can see there are 3 batteries and a circuit. The batteries are there to power the circuit, and it has a memory card to store the data, and there's also a camera here to capture images. The camera can be seen here. There's a broken part on the sensor to capture the images properly. And this is another similar device. It is also a fire sensor, but when we remove, you could see that it was also fixed in the same way. It had a battery and a circuit along with the memory slot to put the memory card in. And you can see the cable for the camera here. And there's a small hole on top of this fire sensor to capture the images from the camera. So that was a real scenario. This was not the only device that was connected in that ATM. There are some things that we have to be we have to look in an ATM when we go to withdraw the money. Even I don't look at it sometimes, but after I saw those devices, now I go to the ATM and I just look around, and I even the place where we put the card in, even the keypad, everything can be fake. The touch of the keys that we press, there can be small devices that store our data, and together with that there can be cameras. Some in this scenario, of course, there were 2 cameras in that ATM place, so it's suspicious to have 2 cameras, right? So because of that, the officers at Sri Lanka CERT has requested to remove the thing, and they have seen that even in the camera, it was fixed near the it was fixed to focus on the keypad. So once we removed it, it also had batteries like this and memory card slots to capture the video data. Next, I will be explaining about live acquisition and end acquisition. So when we are acquiring, like I said, acquisition is making a copy of the digital evidence. So when we are acquiring, there can be 2 ways to acquire. Live acquisition is the difference between these 2 is, in live, the media is switched on or it's powered on, and end acquisition is the media is powered off. In live acquisition, the systems are up and running. The information may be altered as the data can be still processing. So in a live environment, there are a lot of information of investigative value that can be very useful for us. And switching it off can cause loss of volatile data. These volatile data can be the currently running processes, the network connections, the mounted file systems, and so on. But at the same time, leaving a computer running may cause evidence to be altered or deleted. Like I said before, there can be ways that an attacker can access it remotely. So there can be uh, disadvantages also having it running. So the investigator has to decide on what to do according to that scenario. Some times a common approach is that there are acquisition tools where we can put it into read-only mode, and we can attach that media to the system, and we can get a the acquisition of the live systems. The next one is the dead acquisition. This means, like I said, it's switched off, and we can use a write blocker to get the data of this type. So if we use a write blocker during the evidence acquisition, it will preserve the integrity. Like I said before, this integrity means even the timestamps. Sometimes when we get an acquisition, there can be alterations to the timestamps, and time is a very important thing in an investigation. Next one is digital forensics in today's world. I want to highlight the current situation in digital forensics today. So today, digital forensics is a very popular area in information security or cyber security, because yeah, as I said earlier, cyber incidents are increasing day by day. So the need for forensic experts are also increasing. The name, when it comes to designation, we might not get the word digital forensic investigator all the time, because I also have the designation information security analyst, but we are still doing investigation, digital forensic investigations. So the designation is not exactly investigator. The second point is further education specialized in forensics. Before, actually, I did not see any, even in Sri Lanka, I couldn't see any specialized programs in forensic, I mean degree qualifications. But today we have some institutions offering cyber forensic degrees. So that is one, I would say, a change that has happened in the digital forensic area. And the third point, like I said, it's in the future we will need more digital forensic experts. But in the fourth point, I want to say that the certifications and the qualifications itself cannot define a forensic investigator. We have to have practical experiences. One of the real world scenarios I can give is that when we go to the courts, one thing they ask is how many cases you have handled. So with that, they can't question us. If we have more cases, they can't question us saying, you don't have experience to handle these cases. So that is one. Even though we have qualifications, we have to have practice. And with practice, we learn a lot of things. In my next slide, I will be explaining to you the qualifications that we have to have. But here I want to focus that forensics is something that we learn every day. Even I'm still learning a lot of things today. It's not long ago that I've started digital forensics, but I have learned a lot, and I have still a lot to learn. With every digital forensic investigation case I get, there's something to learn. So if we talk about the top skills needed for the digital forensic investigators, the first one is the technical aptitude, which means that we have to work with a variety of technologies. Even Windows operating systems, we have different versions, and the underlying infrastructure of those versions are very different. So technically, we should be able to, we should be knowledgeable. Next one is attention to detail. As an investigator, we will have to go through significant amount of data to uncover the digital evidence. So we have to have a very keen eye uh, to get those details. Next one is understanding of the law. This also it's important. So from country to country, the laws are different, but at least the law in Sri Lanka, if we can keep it in mind, then that will be good. Communication skills is one of the very important skills that we need, because we have to convey the technical information clearly to individuals at different levels of technical comprehension, especially in courts. When we have to explain the report in front of the judge, we have to be very clear and precise. Next one is the analytical skills. This is it's a must for everyone. When it comes to computer forensics, we have to analyze evidence, observe situations closely, notice the patterns, interpret the data, and according to that only we can solve the uh, whole incident. The next one is the desire to learn. uh, Again, with just like cybersecurity or the IT field, anyone working in the field, we have to keep current with the best practices and the emerging cyber trends. So we have to always keep learning and self-educating us. The next one is ability to work in a challenging environment. um, there are some materials that we get when we are doing investigation. They involve very offensive and disturbing material. I don't think I can give an example, but there are some cases. There are some things that it's very disturbing for us to see also. So at those times, we must be able to work with those data also. Next one is the career path. Career path, what I have to say is that there's a very a high demand for digital forensic experts in the near future. And what I think is that if you want to start with this field, then I have a bachelor's degree in IT. So I'm in digital forensics now. So starting in the foundational bachelor's of IT or a related field is enough, because to be an investigator, you have to know a lot of areas. And I think getting specialized in forensics at once is not a good idea. That's what I think. And then we have to do certifications, like I have CHFI. So that's one of the main certifications for digital forensics. Then it's better if you can do an internship with regard to, I won't say, this diagram says law enforcement agency. That's not, that is one option, but there are other places that do digital forensic investigations in private firms also. So if you can do an internship there, then that will be good. Next one is, if you have done a bachelor's degree in IT, then you can do a master's degree in cybersecurity or forensics. So I have a master's degree in cybersecurity. So I think that since digital forensic is a branch of cybersecurity, you should know cybersecurity as well. So I think you got an idea on the career path. If you all have any questions, you all can ask me on the career path. Lastly, for the recommendation and trends, there is a high demand for expertise in computer forensics, like I said, and the employment outlook for digital forensic examinations and investigations are favorable due to the rapid growth of crimes that are involved in computers and other digital devices. And this field plays a significant role in organizations' disaster recovery approach from cyber attacks. And recovery can start to play out when forensic processes are carefully and properly followed in an aftermath of an attack. So I think you all got an idea on digital forensics, and hope you all got an interest also. Thank you so much. I look forward to the questions. Trividya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Miss Halwatura. It was indeed an educative and an informative session. So, Folks, now it is the chance for all of you to raise your questions. If you have any question to be asked based on anything that was said in this workshop so far, or anything that is related to anything that was said in this workshop so far, it is time for you to ask away. So you can now turn on your mics and ask your questions. And if you are not feeling so confident to ask questions by yourself, please feel free to use the chat box and ask away. So this Q&A session will be conducted by both Mr. Kushanta Gunawardana and Ms. Halwatura. So don't worry, ask away all your doubts and they will be readily here to clear all your doubts and confusion. So Mr. Kushanta Gunawardana and Ms. Halwatura, over to you again.
So some questions are in the chat box, I think.
Yeah, there's a question ask how to copy some device for investigating. I think Vihanga, better if you answer this question since it's from your.
Okay, sir. So how to do copy some device for investigating? I think you're asking about the image, making of the image. So here you have to connect the, say it's a laptop, you have to connect it to the forensic workstation or say another computer. And in that forensic workstation, we have softwares that are specific for digital forensics. For instance, at CERT, we have NCase, then we have for training purposes, we use autopsy and FTK imager and so on. So there are different softwares we have. So in those softwares, we have the acquiring ability. Through that, we can make the image. So of course, there should be a write blocker in between the forensic workstation and the device. But if you all want to try it out, I think you all can use autopsy. It's a free tool and it has the imaging ability. Yeah, I think that will do. If you have any other questions, ask me.
There was another question from, I think one of the students from NSBM asked, but why most of the government websites are so vulnerable? Some of the websites are running on really old services that are known for vulnerabilities like, DDO attack, the attack list of given. I guess, yeah, so I will just start this answer for, one of the parts, but I think Vihanga has more, information than me. So what I think was the way the government organizations are working, they can't take individual sort of decisions. So then pretty much these organizations are working with multiple developers, multiple developing agencies. So then once they develop website and host it, sometimes they have not sign up agreement in order to update the sites. So as you can clearly have said, these, for example, if they use mainly government websites are built on top of Joomla, as I know. So most of the government websites are outdated. The reason is whenever Joomla releases new update for the content management system, that's not being updated in the real website. And some of the extensions and plugins are still vulnerable. I guess that's the issue. And if they want to get it updated, they have to sign up another agreement that would take so many years, and process is very cumbersome. Unlike private organizations, the way the government organizations are working a bit different. So some scenarios like today's world, the technology is amazingly updating. So they can't keep up the speed of updating sites. That's the reason I think 2-3 years yeah, there are so many vulnerabilities that you can find. Vihanga, if you have anything to add.
Yes, sir, I agree with you. When it comes to patching, they have problems. As in, we also have we have managed services that we do when it comes to network. The servers come under network security team. So when we do also, we find various updates that they haven't done. It's out of date, so we have to tell them. And sometimes these situations take a long time, especially in the government sector. They take a long time to patch, and even that's the same case for websites. Sometimes normally when we do network or vulnerability assessments for websites also, we do it twice. We do a reassessment also. Once they say that it's fixed, we do a reassessment also. And in some websites, in the reassessment also, it's not fixed. So another point is that they take a lot of time, and if we do one assessment this year, and then next year when we do it, again the same vulnerability is there. So it's very hard with some organizations. I think, but we are keeping up. It's better than before, actually.
Yeah.
Before it was worse, but now it's kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Vihanga. Any other questions? Yeah, correct. So again, I think it's asking another similar kind of questions related to that. Yeah, there is always risk, something like that. And even I think, as I remember a few years ago, many government organizations were having plenty range of FTP accounts that even administrators wouldn't know who has created when it was created, right? So that was the earlier case, but situation is changed now. Yeah, so I guess set of questions asked again related to that. Yeah, so but they are working on towards that. As I said earlier, the latest sort of a improvement was they have created a special team under CID, and also they have appointed a cybersecurity director to take off, these kind of issues, mainly investigations, I think with the help support of CERT as well. And there's another question, is there any resource to learn exploit development? There are so many, resources you can find, exploit development, especially GitHub. There are a number of community pages, you can search for it. And there is another one asked, Sri Lanka has bug bounty programs. I have seen recently CERT started such a program among university students. So you can be part of volunteering to bug bounty programs, but I have not seen any companies have introduced such programs. Once I think Dialogue started, but it's not, I don't know whether it's active now. And also CERT runs some of the hacker challenge programs every year. That is another thing that CERT does. I think instead of me explaining about CERT, I think Vihanga, if you have anything to share these programs to update these kind of technologies among university students. I think CERT does a lot of work. If you have anything to share.
Yes, sir. Recently we shared a post on bug bounty programs that will be done by CERT, so you all can check that. And from UCSC also, there's another program called Bug Zero. You all can check that also. Those are the maybe two programs that I'm aware of.
Okay. Any other questions from you? Yeah, there's another question. Do you see CMS websites more vulnerable for hacking? Actually, we can't make that sort of comment, because CMS is not something that make easy for attackers to attack. But only thing is CMS being used by many organizations because it's easy to manage and it's easy to update. Because these days we need dynamic websites and more frequently updating websites. That's the concern, but the issue is whenever you use CMS, either it's open source, free, or even commercial, you need to update or patching the latest releases. Something similar to operating systems. If you are using Windows operating system, and if you start using Windows 2016 server, it doesn't mean you are safe for all the time. You can be secure today, but tomorrow with the finding of new vulnerability can make you so vulnerable. So same thing applies for CMS. So then it doesn't mean that CMS websites are more vulnerable for hacking, but only thing is if you are using CMS, you need to maintain updates properly, and not only CMS, but also there are some extensions and plugins that are used has to be updated properly. So then it would it won't be that vulnerable. And there's another question. I want to learn cybersecurity, but my AL results not enough to follow it. I like to follow. How can follow cyber? So it's actually nowadays everything is changed. When we started learning, it's a must to have advanced level to do register for the university, state universities mainly. But nowadays, even without advanced level, there are so many areas that you can start your degrees, especially private universities. I think even SLIIT and all these universities, they have some programs where even without proper advanced level certificate, they have some courses to follow to cope up and build up your knowledge up to degree entry level, and then you can continue up to degree. So because of that, there are multiple ways that you can start your career. And also if you start professional education, and you can start something like BCS, British Computer Society membership, Australian Computer Society membership. So those membership will give you certain recognition. Based on that, you can start your degree. So multiple ways. And if you talk to best things is to talk to one of the representatives or student counselors from academic education institutions. So they have so many methods, even without advanced level, proper, acceptable, they can start it. But professional education, you don't need any, it doesn't have any prerequisites. So without a degree, without a master, you can do Microsoft training, professional courses, Amazon, certified ethical hacker kind of PC council training. You don't need any prerequisites like academic advanced level, right? And then there is another question. Are there any internship programs to learn? Internship let me just make it a little bigger. I want to learn. So there are some questions. Yeah, sorry. Are there any internship programs in CERT? I think Vihanka, you can answer to this.
Right now, we don't have any internship programs. For this year, we did not advertise yet. But please check. If I can, I'll see if we can put it in our social media pages when we advertise for internships. This year, still we don't have internship programs, but by July or August, I think there will be some. I'm not sure, but if they are, I'll make sure it's advertised on our social media pages for you.
And there is another question. Is there any places in Sri Lanka that we can work as a volunteer, as a penetration tester and red team? I think many organizations like, I think PW, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and they have some other companies like KBSL. So there are a number of other organizations, companies, they provide internships. You need to contact them. And the next one is, there's another question asked, is there any anti-cyber bullying laws in Sri Lanka? Vihanga, possibly if you have.
Anti-cyber bullying laws, we don't have in Sri Lanka actually. The cyber law.
There is no direct law, but I'm not sure whether. But of course, Sri Lanka police has range of laws that they use for different kind of stuff, especially for the child abuse laws are stronger. They use same laws in cyberbullying in Sri Lanka. I think that is the law, because we don't have direct law, as I'm aware, about cyberbullying or anti-cyberbullying laws, but they use child abuse laws against that. Yeah. So any other questions, guys? Yeah. No worries. Yeah, there is another question. Is a CompTIA security good professional certificate to boost cyber career? Yes, of course. But you know, CompTIA is not something very famous in Sri Lanka. If you look at Sri Lanka perspective, in Sri Lanka, well-known certificates are Certified Ethical Hacker program, and also they have CISSP. But CISSP is for mainly for the strategic level security. And CISM, CISA, those are also intermediary level. But if you want to start something from the ground level, I think Certified Ethical Hacker is the recommend. You know, for your question, it's good to start. And also, my EC Council offer Certified Secure Computer User that we have. I think during this with the quiz, we provided free offering plus some of the discounts for CISU. That is Certified Secure Computer User. If anybody want to start cyber career, I think that's where there is something you can start. Think of. It's a small program, but it covers 8 domains, so it gives you a better understanding about cybersecurity. If you want to start, any other questions? I think we have answers to all the questions, right? So if you have any, please to us. We have another, I think, 1 or 2 minutes, because there is another session we scheduled with another set of universities at 2 o'clock. Right. So I think we need to, because of that, we need to conclude the session. So thank you very much, guys. On behalf of CISCIA, I would like to thank everyone, especially Vihanga, to sharing her knowledge, representing LK CERT, and we work closely right with SL CERT as well. And thank you very much for the organizers. Thank you very much for organizers to organizing such amazing event. And thank you very much for all the participants representing all the universities in Sri Lanka. And it's a pleasure and it's an honor to be with you at this event today. And I hope it's informative, and I'm happy to share our knowledge with you as a young generation to be part of our, in the future in Sri Lanka, to take responsibilities, the people who are willing to take responsibilities in the future. So thank you very much for everyone, especially again, the organizers of this event. So hope to see you again, and thank you very much. Have a very good evening, and over to you, organizing committee. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gunawardana and Ms. Halwatura. It was an immense pleasure listening to you, both of you talking and clearing our doubts. So to all the winners who won the quizzes of the Kahoot sessions, please note that within the next 2 days, your prizes will be given to you. The Cyberzilla organizing team will contact you and give you your respective prizes. So to wrap things up officially for the day for Cyberzilla, now I invite on screen the club lead of the Women in FOSS community of ULS University, Ms. Chetana Wickramarachchi, to deliver the vote of thanks. Chetana, you're on screen now.
Thank you, Trividya. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have reached the end of our wonderful webinar today. So I'm so proud to say that we were able to gather around 300 participants for today's session. So it was a huge success. So I take the opportunity to put my gratitude into words. First of all, my special thanks to CISCIA IT Solution for giving this much opportunities to these young undergraduates to improve themselves. And I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our guest speakers, Mr. Kushantha Gunawardana and Ms. Hansani Halwatura, for their valuable time and sharing their knowledge with us today. So we have learned so much things during these 4 hours. So dear madam, dear sir, thank you so much again. So, and my special thanks to Mr. Chandima Disanayaka, from Cisco IT Solution for coordinating and planning this big event. Thank you, Mr. Shandima. And I want to thank for Mozilla communities of University of Moratuwa, University of Sri Jayawardenepura, NSBM Green University, ICBT Kandy Campus, SLIT, and IIT for making today's function a great success. I congratulate all the winners who won the valuable coupons and courses for today's session, and special thanks all participants for their active participation. Last but not least, I want to thank our FOSS Mozilla and Women in FOSS committee and all the volunteers for their hard work. So finally, once again, I want to thank Cisco IT Solutions for their valuable opportunities, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Chaitana. So that's it, folks. So the Cyberzilla online workshop on cybersecurity, cloud computing, and cyber forensics has come to officially an end. So we hope to meet you again in the future with many more successful webinars and workshops just like this. So before that, if you want to see the recording of today's session, the recording will be available in the YouTube channel of the FOSS UW YouTube page, actually, and you can see the link in the chat box down below. So if you want to see the recording, please visit the page. The recording will be uploaded in a couple of days. So we hope to see you, as I said previously, in the future with many more successful events just like this. So until then, have a good night, have a good day, and goodbye.